this, every way, every day. I wait on you, as you wait on me, so we can see more of this silly world.
Once you get that thumb going,
The world
it's a little bit quicker.
as long as you think
Take some
that's
practice.
and hope for the
Getting
best.
ready to go, Fujo! I guess it's pronounced Mauritanian. The Mauritanian. This is actually one of those back roads that you kind of get stuck on a little bit sometimes. I found out the name of that movie, Jody Foster, that where I said the bar wench or the lady in the bar. It was actually called The Accused, and I think the movie was based on a real incident. I think it was. I could be wrong. Leave a comment, but that's what is being interviewed right now in this Mauritanian. I guess it's Mauritanian. Anyone knows anything about the Mauritanian, leave a comment. But it's an interesting Apple
Turn left onto Country Court.
podcast. There goes the navigator. It's very interesting in her life. She could probably write several biographies and do very, very, very well. So when you get out in the country like this, you have to kind of look for addresses. Sometimes it may be on the actual gates. And then sometimes you'll have this thing right here. So, I have no clue on this one. Probably phone calls. I mean, I'm not calling Jodie Foster's character in The Accused a bar wench. But you got to see the film. It's pretty serious. I mean, she was a woman in a bar by herself drinking. And that's what they went after her in the film, the character. They went after her to try to protect the lives of the other drinkers that were in that bar at that time. The Accused is actually an important film. It's been looked over. It's like a sleeper. It's tough to watch, though, and I'm sure it was even tougher for Jodie Foster to actually have to do some of the things that went on in that film. And I think it was even way more difficult for the people that actually dealt with that if it was based on true story, which I believe it may have been. But I don't mean to call the character a bar wench. I just did that because it was the fastest way to identify the type of lady it was. It wasn't a nun that went into that bar. But that doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter in a film like The Accused. It's showing how humanity needs to be protected in an instance like that. So I just want to make that clear, that I'm not looking down on that character that she played in The Accused, but I'm questioning the entire film in its entirety. Only questioning the exact science of everything that happened is probably what I'm saying. I'm not saying the yes or no on everything. I'm just saying that it's interesting. It's amazing with Jodie Foster. I didn't know she was so educated and brilliant. One thing that I really noticed, well, I haven't really got to that part of the Apple iPod, but she did nail. She hasn't talked about, there you go, navigator. There you go. There you go, okay. Just talk over me. It's fine. She did nail what she directed. I remember when that came out. I went to the movie theater to see it. It was about around the same time The Piano had come out with Holly Hunter, but she was nominated, I think, for Nell too. And I don't know if they talked about that because she's been a director as well as an actress or actor. She calls herself an actor. Pretty interesting. Really good Apple iPod on the Hollywood Reporter. These houses are absolutely amazing. I really don't know where I'm at, but I have no clue, really, to be honest. But they're absolutely just completely amazing. And this is like in the South, or somewhere in Texas, not too far from maybe like a Twin Lakes area or something. It says Twin Lakes Drive. I have no idea. If anybody knows where I'm at, leave a comment. But they're really pretty houses. A lot of them are very, 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 very big and very pretty. Very big. Very, very, very. These are all like mansions almost. Look at this fountain right here. It's just amazing. There's another fountain over that way. Kind of see it. It's a very gorgeous house right there. Very, very pretty. Can I hear the fountains? Pretty amazing. The one thing that is amazing about Jodie Foster, for one thing, in her work, is her focus is probably superior to a lot of other actresses. And you can see that when you see the Jonathan Demme's Silence of the Lambs. And Nell and a few other of her work, well, probably like a lot of her work. Her focus is so intense that you can't look away from her. And when someone has that kind of focus and interest in what they're doing, it's hard to look away. Mayhill Road. Going to be probably the next one. I would say that's
In 2
Corinth.
miles,
Yeah,
take
there's
exit
Navigator.
west toward Mayhill.
Navigator. She's talking. She is talking. Navigator. All right, we're gonna take a risk on this one right here. It says Corinth, but we're looking for Mayhill, so I don't know. And this is Corinth. And I go. Look how I go like an arrow from a tiger's bow. Okay, so I have 1/4 of a mile right here. I go, look how I go like a arrow from a Tartar's bow. I mean, basically, Vietnam had really kind of...
In half a mile, turn right onto South Mayhill Road.
What? Vietnam had basically kind of influenced probably what Scorsese was thinking about what a soldier was seeing at that time in New York City, going into the city and becoming like a cab driver. And Vietnam was a big, because a lot of the soldiers were actually affected by different drugs while they were over there in the jungles. So when they were coming back, there was a sense of that feeling in it. And I don't think any other film has...
At the stop sign, turn right onto South Mayhill Road. Then turn right onto Edwards Road.
I don't think any other film had touched the point of view of a soldier in a big city like New York City. Travis Bickle representing that Vietnam tragedy inside of his head that he was able to capture in a very specific way. And you have to realize the importance of Taxi Driver is that it is showing the tragedy of war, but it's also showing it through the perspective of someone that was probably affected by drugs, or at least the drug culture, even though he was kind of a square cat. You know, he wasn't that hip, as you say. There was a hipness.
Turn right onto Camino Real.
Oh, shut up, navigator. There was a hipness to the whole thing that I think is interesting. About here. It's basically what Scorsese did, like right here kind of thing. It was basically a series of photos that were also film that was kind of broken up in a series. And most of them were kind of stable in aspect. So if Bickle looked around, instead of Bickle looking around, which there was some of that, you would see I guess the idea is that you have to show the environment around you more. So I guess that previous one wasn't really what he did. So you got a vehicle, you can see the vehicle. You can pretty much tell it's a car. If you go like this, you can really tell. So it's all like angling and situations kind of thing. Chrome Valdez? And no disrespect with Chrome Valdez. I think the guy is amazing. I want to say something about Chrome. I saw him in the most dangerous, death-defying thing that I'd ever seen on YouTube. When his van ran out of batteries in the middle of -22 Fahrenheit, -30 Celsius. You do the math. Actually, to be honest, a little math lesson. If you take the number in Celsius, I believe you can times it, I think, by 9/5. So 9 divided by 5. Then you add 32. You're going to always be able to get the Fahrenheit version. So you take the Celsius, if it's -30. So you do -30. Then you have the 9/5, which is basically 9 divided by 5, plus the 32. Then you'll come out with -22. Also, Foresty Forest teaches that in some of his vlogs too. But he's a crazy cat that gets up on the mountains with a drone and kind of American Sniper kind of thing right here, kind of flag. But those guys are I mean, for vlogging, they're kind of method in a way. But that one was pretty scary because he had to regenerate his batteries. But other than that, he had to get rescued. I mean, he had nothing. I mean, he was by like a little burner stove that was on butane. And this is a guy in Canada that does stuff out of Nova Scotia. And his van just, he just woke up and there, it got so cold, it was -30 Celsius, that he had to get rescued. Luckily, those guys have Garmin's on them. You should check out Garmin's, because you can send out an SOS thing on a Garmin. And it's very scary. It's a very scary vlog. You should see it. It came out just a few days ago, maybe not even a week ago. very scary. Right during all this winter burst storm. And it starts off in the dark, and he's vlogging it with his dog, and he's trying to get everything situated. It turned out to be like a minor problem with the van, like something very minor. It wasn't a serious problem, but it still scared him, and the battery situation scared him because of the batteries. It's really, really amazing. But I do think that him being a DJ, disc jockey, is a big advantage in this kind of thing, because he's got a way to lay down that music, and he's very serious when it comes to these vlogs. They're absolutely tremendously incredible, just absolutely professional work. That's amazing. He should really get a YouTube award that's bigger than what he already has. But he started off just basically disc jockey. His disc jockey stuff. Amazing work. The van city, van life that's coming out of Canada. Foresty Forest is no joke. He's got some great drone stuff, and his stuff is pretty good for fixer-uppers kind of stuff. But the van stuff is just, it's pretty serious stuff. It's very different than the Woo. It's very different than Jordan the Lion. It's very different stuff. But it's impressive. It's an impressive work. Pretty impressive. Well, that's a wrap. If you don't know about my channel, you can subscribe. All you have to do is just hit a button. That's the most helpful thing that you can do. Also, don't forget, big old motorcycle. Don't forget to hit the notifying bell so you know when my next one's coming up. And also, I'll leave information about my PayPal if you're digging this, If you dig it, you can, my PayPal. Hey, it could just be, I don't know, a few dollars. It doesn't have to be a great amount. Anything will help. If you have any suggestions or comments, let me know. Thank you so much. Of course, please subscribe. And have a good evening. Pretty quick phone. So I would have changed it to the man with no name that shot John Lennon. And it probably would have made more than 100,000. But I probably would have changed it to the man with no name that shot John Lennon. Chapter 27 is a good title. That was a good title. Soy sauce, ice cream. But I would have probably changed it, Leto, to the man with no name that shot John Lennon. Although Chapter 27 is a pretty good title. It's a pretty good title. Pooch.